So, I think about when Synack first approached us with this idea, and I had already built up a level of frustration with the common pen test that I was spending $100,000, $150,000 on a pop for large accounting firms to come in with their interns that they have, and they would run the same scanning technologies that we had in-house, and then they'd give me a 50, 60-page report and say, here's your problems, right? That became very difficult for me to take those results and translate them into anything actionable within my organization. So I really was looking for a different approach. So when Synack came to us with the concept of bug bounties and being able to leverage the hacker community in a constructive manner, it was very popular for me. I really liked the way it was presented. I certainly, one of the things I learned early on in my tenure as CISO at Domino's was that it's very important to have kind of not just the good guy view, but the bad guy view. And you're not going to get the bad guy view from large accounting firms. It's just not going to happen. So what we were able to do is partner with Synack. So Synack is very good, very effective at managing the cowboys and then allowing them to kind of harness that power and bring those researchers so that they could start getting that critical volume of trying to break into our site. That became very valuable, and once we were able to demonstrate what their findings and show them to development, development was excited as well, because this was real life the stuff that you're going to get from the accounting firm doesn't really tell them what the problem is or what they need to fix. However, when a vulnerability is identified through Synack, it's something that they can see, they can touch, they can really get a sense of what it is that caused it to happen. And I think Synack had some very, very good responses in terms of how they manage those hackers, how they vet them, how they know exactly every keystroke that they go through when they are trying to look for exploits. But yeah, it's been just a really sure. So obviously, yes, critical infrastructure has a certain profile that's quite different from what we're potentially used to at Domino's. But I will say this: I mean, there are billions of dollars of credit card transactions that traverse our systems every year. Our online ordering platform is responsible for 60+% of all orders that come into our ecosystem. So our business lives or dies on that online ordering capability. So if we lose the confidence of the consumer, that would have terrible results to how well we do as a company, and it would affect us immediately. So the stakes are quite high. That's not to say, again, the risk profile for critical infrastructure is a completely different discussion. There was at one point where I was dealing with an incident where an adversary was trying to extort money from us, and the CFO said, "So would we ever pay?" And I had to remind him, no, we wouldn't. We deliver pizza, right? If we were a hospital and there were people dying, I would suggest we pay today. But that's not what we do. We deliver pizza. So obviously, profiles are a little bit different in that space. Can I just touch on one other point that came up that I think is real important around what Synack delivers and what we're able to consume, and that has to do with some of the metrics that they've been able to give us. And one of the metrics that's very valuable to me is around resistance. How much time does it take the average hacker to find a vulnerability on my code? That is extremely valuable information, because ultimately, when we take it time back to kind of that security 101 lesson, a safe is a safe. Every safe you can crack into any safe. What is it that we measure when we look at a quality of a safe? And that is how much time is it going to take for my adversary to break into that safe? And if I know that, then I can plan accordingly. I can build my security operations to know how much time my SOC has to find something, to find an infiltration, right? If I have the assurance that my Synack researchers weren't able to find a vulnerability, it took them 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. It gives me some sort of piece of data connected to the vulnerability that allows me to, at the same time, get my security operations center in parallel to understand how resistant and how quickly they need to detect these things.